Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes.
Hey guys, Amber here with a Meeple Family, and today I'm going to be doing a video all about the gifts you can buy the board game lover in your life that aren't board games. That's the goal here, right? I know I'm very particular about the board games I want to bring into my collection, so sometimes when people find out I love board games, their initial thought is, oh, I'll just run to like Walmart and grab her a board game. And I'm just like, please don't. Please don't grab me a board game from Walmart. But there are so many things that people that are not in the board game community, they just don't realize are even out there. And honestly, a lot of this is new. I would say in the last decade or so, a lot of these things have really come out and there's so much to choose from now. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. Some ideas that you can give that board game lover in your life that is not a board game from Walmart or something maybe they don't want in their collection. Hopefully these will give you some ideas of things they will genuinely be excited to receive. So the first thing I have for you today is custom insert trays. Now on this one, you're definitely going to need to do your research and figure out what their favorite game is, or maybe ask them like, hey, what game is really hard to organize or is like just is a mess in the box? Like those are the kinds of questions I would ask to figure out a custom insert tray that would really get them excited, because that is exactly what an insert tray does, is it organizes all the game pieces in the box and just makes it really a lot easier to get out to the table typically, and easier to put away, and it just keeps the game in better condition overall. So you can find a lot of these custom insert trays on Etsy. They come in all shapes and sizes for all different kinds of games. So I would definitely check that out as an option to buy someone that loves board games. All right, the second one I have for you is actually pretty inexpensive depending on what kind you get, but they are dice trays. I got a set of 4 of these dice trays from Amazon, and they just kind of snap together. And they're just great. They're so handy to have. And it's funny when you play games and you have these little accessories, it just makes the gameplay that much more enjoyable. I think I got that set of 4. I think it was under $15, and it's just nice when we're playing dice games like Cubitos, for instance, where everyone is kind of managing a handful of dice. They're not all over the table, and it's just a much more pleasant experience with a dice tray. So dice trays, again, you can buy super nice ones, you can get leather ones, you can get custom stained wood dice trays. So I mean, figure out the aesthetic that the person you're buying for, you know, things that they like, and from there, yeah, dice trays would be a great option, and I think most gamers would be super excited to receive those if they do not already have them. So my number 3 option for you to buy that board game lover in your life, and that's not a board game, is a game mat. So there's actually playing mats for game boarders, and these offer basically like why do you need a game mat? Basically they help keep your pieces nice. They help stabilize your pieces when you're playing so they're not sliding all over the place. And card games especially are really nice. And honestly, it's just really luxurious to play on a game mat. It just makes a big difference. So don't knock it till you've tried it. But I am a huge advocate of game mats, and I really think they elevate the experience and the gameplay. Kind of like I was saying with the dice trays, it's definitely not something you have to have, but when you do have it, you're like, wow, this is so nice. So this is a really great option as well. So these game mats, like for me, I just got a big plain black one because that's what I like. That's my aesthetic. So I would definitely know the person you're buying for. There's different like sceneries. You can get Marvel characters. You can get your favorite like game backdrop. And you know, not only do they come with these like generic play mats that you can leave all the time, but some games even have like their own play mat. So I would just distinguish between the two. Like, are you trying to buy a play mat that goes with a particular game, meaning that every time you get that game out, that mat is kind of set up as a board to house that game on the table? Or just get them, I would recommend just like a general game mat so that they can use it for whatever game they're playing. You can find these game mats on like Amazon, Etsy, you know, board game stores online, you'll be able to find a plethora of them. The biggest thing I think is just looking for the size of game mat you want to get, as well as, like I said, the backdrop. There's also some features that come on the game mat, like you can get like no slip, so like your tiles and your cards do not move at all. I've seen a lot of those on Etsy that are made with like a different fabric so that it really grips the card. And like I said, once you dive into a little bit of research, it's pretty simple decision. You're basically looking at the texture of the mat and the backdrop and how big or small you want the mat to be. So game mats, I highly recommend. If the person you're buying for does not have one, I know they would be excited to get one. I just think that is such a nice accessory to have in the board game hobby. So my number 4 is metal coins. So this is maybe kind of a unique one. This is something like I personally haven't splurged on, but I was like, oh, like that would be a cool gift to get, because it's one of those things you're like, well, I don't really need it, but like it'd be cool to have, but I don't really want to spend money on it, which to me makes it the perfect gift. So these metal coins, basically, I know what some people do is they'll just have like a general stockpile of metal coins. And so when a board game has coins, they'll just get out that generic set of metal coins and just kind of exchange the cardboard ones for the metal ones while they're playing that particular game, and then like shelf the metal coins again, and then, you know, so they can be used over multiple games. Now, some people, I'm sure, buy like specific coins for specific games, but in my mind, just buying like a more general pack of metal coins that you could use throughout any games that use money, to me would be a great option and kind of fit that niche of like wanting those upgraded bits without having to buy like an upgraded set for each game you're playing. Metal coins, again, you can find those all over online, just Google it. All right, so I'm pretty sure we're on number 5, and for my number 5, we were just talking about upgrading to coins. Now I'm going to talk about upgrading game pieces or game bits. So when we were talking about the custom insert trays, you know, I recommended figuring out what that favorite game is that they really love and kind of honing in on getting an insert for that. I think the same thing would apply to the game bits. You know, figure out what game they really, really love to play, that they're maybe like most proud of, or they enjoy getting to the table the most. And that is the one I would focus on. Like I said, you can find these usually on Etsy. You can find them on Board Game Geek. A lot of people produce and sell these upgraded game bits to games. So you shouldn't have a hard time finding, like if you can get their top like 3 or 4 games, you'll definitely be able to find one of them that offers some type of upgrade bit. And basically what these are is maybe like instead of like a cardboard component, you're upgrading to like more of like a tile based, or like just the components, the meeples, the resources, whatever components are in the game are just being elevated to like a better texture, weight, and feel overall. Again, you know, it's the perfect gift because it's not always something you want to splurge on. To have someone else purchase it for you and just be able to get that, I think would make a lot of board game lovers super excited. All right, my next one for the board game lover in your life is game bit trays. So this is a little bit different than dice trays. These are going to be smaller trays that like hold the different game pieces or game components. So thinking about a game maybe like Everdell, where, you know, you have all these like little components, like the little pieces of wood, the little resin. These game bit trays are gonna house those. So they're basically not like rolling all over the table, or, you know, they're easy to exchange, like, oh, I'm turning 2 of these in, I'm getting 1 of these back. They're just little game trays that hold these components. So again, you can find so many of these. You can probably find some that match the dice trays you bought over on Etsy. You can get them in different sizes. You can get them where they have like compartments in them. So maybe you're holding 1 or 2 or 3 resources, or you can just get them where they're holding 1. I think these would be great gifts. Again, it's one of those things you don't need, but it just kind of elevates and organizes your gameplay. I think it's one too that a lot of people maybe don't want to spend money on, so getting it as a gift is a great option. All right, I have just a few more ideas for you. The next one is meeple stickers. So meeples are the little game pieces that come in the game. They're usually like some type of like animal or like a little person. And recently, like I feel like this is like somewhat newer. They've come out with these like sticker overlays. So it like gives your meeple a face, basically is what it does. And they're all unique to the game. So for instance, the game Obsession, which has these little meeples in it that are servants. You can basically put stickers on the meeple to make them look like servants, where they're not just like these chunky meeples that are colors. They're now like brought to life with these sticker fronts. Another thing, like not necessary, but it's kind of a fun way to elevate and give your game some personality. So I think these meeple stickers would be a great gift idea, especially if there's a specific game that person you're buying for really, really loves. This would be really fun, and I know it'd bring a smile to their face. Again, you can find these on Etsy. The next one I have for you is board game artwork. So yes, I'm talking about like pictures you hang on your wall, and there are some really, really talented people out there that paint these amazing illustrations of like board game covers or like the feel of the board game, and they bring it to life in a painting that you can put on your wall. These are so well done. I would not blink twice before putting these on my wall, and I think a lot of other board game lovers, like especially if you can find that game they really love, and you know, that could be kind of a start of a collection for them, maybe getting like 3 or 4 different like board games that are special to them, or maybe even their gateway game that brought them into the hobby. Those would all be great gift ideas. And again, these pictures are just beautiful. I found a lot of them over on Etsy, so I would definitely check that out as well. All right, up next, a little less formal is, yeah, a t-shirt. That's what I'm thinking, okay? There are some hilarious board game t-shirts I have seen. You can find them all over the place. Again, I keep saying Etsy, but it's a great place to go for like unique gifts. There are, you know, ones that are like tied to a specific game. So again, once you know those like 3 or 4 games that the person you're buying for really loves, you can kind of hone in on that. There's some that are like humorous. So depending on the personality of the person you're buying for, you can definitely find a t-shirt that they will love. Most board gamers I know love t-shirts. I love t-shirts. I would love a board game t-shirt. I think it's a great gift idea. And the last one I have for you is a little bit more pricey, but it is a board game travel bag. So if you're buying for someone that like travels a lot or loves to like bring their board games to parties or get-togethers, a board game travel bag could be a great option. It's a little bit pricier because you're buying like a pretty big bag, and these come in all shapes and sizes, so you can get a really big one or a smaller one, or depending on how many games you want it to hold. And you're probably thinking like, you need a bag to put your board games in? Yes, because it like holds them so they're not like jostling all over the place, and it protects them. Like that is one thing I think that board gamers are really serious about, is like, do not bend the corners of my box, like do not scratch it. So this is a way to kind of like protect your board games when you are like commuting or traveling or bringing them somewhere like for the holidays. So this to me is another really great option for the board game lover in your life that is not a board game. I personally do not have one of these, mostly because like we don't bring our board games a lot of places. Typically people come to our home and play board games, but I do know a lot of people that they'll bring games to like a board game night or something like that, and you know, commuting with your board games is always like a little like, ooh, like I hope they're gonna be okay. So this to me would be another great option for the board game lover in your life. And also, again, it's something that you don't always want to splurge on, so I think getting it as a gift is awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining me as I brought 10 different ideas, unique ideas outside of board games that you can buy the board game lover in your life. There are so many like accessories nowadays and like things you can buy, so I'm sure there's a ton of stuff I didn't think of. So if you've thought of something unique, please list it down below, because I would love to do another video, because I couldn't find a lot of information on like board game accessories and things like that. And you know, I think a lot of people don't maybe even know some of this stuff exists. So I always love sharing those kind of things. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, commenting. If you can, like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. We would appreciate it. See you guys later.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes.